to backtrack a little bit, my initial goals with this was I want to start a podcast simply because I feel that it can be beneficial to not just people, but to myself. And it's a learning thing. And it's, kind of breaking out of your shell, breaking out of your mold and trying something different. But at the same time, you try to be entertaining, try to deliver value, try to tell people stories, give some stories yourselves, or tell some stories of yourself and that type of thing. I never went into it and I never came into this thinking I'm going to make all this money. You know what I mean? I'm going to be the most successful podcast in the world. That wasn't my mindset. So on one hand, you could look at it like, if you're not going to be the best at it, then what are you doing it for? You know what I'm saying? You could look at it like, if you're not trying to come in here and take over the thing, what are you doing it for? Well, I'm just not there yet. Let me get the repetitions and let me get the ropes and let me get a feel for all this, coming from a blank, like a straight up blank canvas. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hypocritical AF podcast. I am your host, Albert Fig, and we are back for the latter, is it latter half? No, or the second half. Not even the second half, but we're back for the triple digits, 100s, going on and going forward with this. It's crazy to think about the fact that we're now here at the, the 100 marks, thinking about from when episode 1 was up until 102, which I think this is going to be the one that's going to be 102. And we just been hitting the ground running. It's just been on go from literally just episode 100, shoot that one on the fly, shoot a bonus episode, shoot one today. Actually, I'm recording 2 of them today. So it's going to be this one and then one that's going to be released the next week, which I'm excited for you guys to see. And it's just been back to back to back to back to back, literally like on go, and it's exciting because it's like we are stepping the very first step going into the, like I said, the triple digits numbers for the episodes. The very first step has just been on go. And that's like the pace and the tempo I like to keep because it reminds me of episode 1. When episode 1 dropped, it was, foot on the gas, no stop and just go. Learning, trials and tribulations and all that stuff comes with it, but it's just been on go. And it's good to see like how comfortable I am now. Comparison to number 1 up until right now, like, the first episode, it was a lot of planning. It was a lot of prepping. It was anticipation. It was build up. It was, just the excitement level to actually do one, release one, and see how that rollout is, and then getting the feedback and the responses that I did get. So that was that emotion going forward. I mean, for episode number 1. And so for this one, it's kind of the same thing, only now is just like, all right, I know the rounds, I got the repetitions in, I know what to expect, and I'm stepping my best foot forward just the same way I did for episode number 1, but I'm just going at a different pace as I did the first one. The first one, it was slow pace, and like I said, I'm learning everything and I'm being hopeful, as opposed to this one right now. This pace is the same as far as it's not even the same. I can't even say because the speed is already different. Like there's a bonus one this week. There was a bonus one this week, the Halloween episode that we just shot, which in all likelihood, I think we're going to try to make that a tradition. Like every year, annually, myself and Josh will put on some weird makeshift costumes and just record another, Halloween episode. And each time, maybe the designs will be better. Each time, maybe the costumes will be better. And each time, maybe there'll be like an event going forward as opposed to just sitting there. I know I wanted to have like a cauldron with like smoke and everything to do like the witch's brew, but it was supposed to be alcohol, But, if you're a real podcast alum and a real fan, that, Josh is sober. He doesn't drink. So I don't want to be the only one drinking on the podcast, so especially for like a Halloween one. So maybe there's other ways I can, even though I sound like a hypocrite because I was drinking a glass of wine. But maybe I can incorporate that, but we kind of just did it not fully planned, and again, that's on me. Just like the 100th episode, that was on me. I dropped the ball on recording for the 100th episode. Not necessarily recording, but having the initial like event type of thing or a theme for it that I wanted to do. I dropped the ball on that one because I didn't plan ahead. I didn't hit the people up in time. I didn't even have a spot fully locked in because I wanted to do like a live episode. And we have something for that, in the works to counter that, to give me that same live feeling. And we got something in the works for that. So I'm hoping that it can work out for that one. But yeah, so maybe we make that one a repetitive thing. So between doing that bonus one and then shooting this one today and then recording later today, so 2 in a day, and it's like, man, it's the first week and I'm already like on go, and that's a good thing. I think that's a good precedent to set, is to start this another chapter in this podcasting journey with your best foot forward, because ultimately that's all you can do. It's episode 100. It's an interesting place because you're essentially at a crossroads, and I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. You're at a crossroads. You can go 2 different directions, right? You're kind of stuck at a fork in the road. I almost said intersection, a fork on the road. It's, you get here. Okay. Like my initial, to backtrack a little bit, my initial goals with this was I want to start a podcast simply because I feel that it can be beneficial to not just people, but to myself. And it's a learning thing. And it's, kind of breaking out of your shell, breaking out of your mold and trying something different. But at the same time, you try to be entertaining, try to deliver value, try to tell people stories, give some stories yourselves, or tell some stories of yourself and that type of thing. I never went into it, and I never came into this thinking I'm going to make all this money. You know what I mean? I'm going to be the most successful podcast in the world. That wasn't my mindset. So on one hand, you could look at it like, if you're not going to be the best at it, then what are you doing it for? You know what I'm saying? You could look at it like, if you're not trying to come in here and take over the thing, what are you doing it for? Well, I'm just not there yet. Let me get the like I said, the repetitions, and let me get the ropes in. Let me get a feel for all this, coming from a blank, like a straight up blank canvas. It's a little different, and that's not me making an excuse and saying that I don't want those things. I'm just saying my initial start of it wasn't focused or centered around that. It was, again, convos, delivering value, storytelling. I would say those would be the 3 main lifters, that essentially lifted all this off. I hope that makes sense. Damn, I suck at that. So that was the initial, at the first launch, the idea for everything. And now when you get to this point, it's like, actually backtrack some more. So that was the initial launch. And then it was like, all right, give me 1 year. Give me a year of doing this consistently. Give me 1 year of giving this like my all. Because if I can't make it successful, right? And I use successful lightly. I try not to use it so much because people can define success in different ways, and you could measure success however you perceive it to be, So it was just, let me get 1 year in. Let me see if I can make this into something, or let me see if I could even do it, because if I can't last 6 months of it, what's the point of doing the year? If I'm 2 months in and I'm not being consistent, and it's just kind of here and there, lackadaisical, it's I already know I can't do the year. So it was also, like a good, I guess, lesson, but also you have to be, I'm thinking of this word, so on the tip of my tongue, and it's stuck for some reason. You have discipline, damn it. And you have to be disciplined enough to do something like that for a whole year, because especially once you set that precedent, of I'm going to do this for 1 year and you don't accomplish it. First of all, it's fine. It's fine if you don't accomplish something that you initially set. You set a goal, right? You set a goal. If you reach it or not, that's okay. You set something, you tried, and you said you were going to do something. That already in and of itself is a fucking solid, you have to be disciplined enough to even set that. And you have to be disciplined enough to actually reach those goals too. You don't start nothing that you're not going to finish, So it was the 1 year. Boom. 1 year mark comes. Did that. And I just felt like, oh man, like I just now got the somewhat rhythm of things. I'm just now understanding this. I'm still learning stuff. I'm still figuring out. I was at the cusp of learning more, like getting better with the editing, getting better with angles, getting better with lighting hacks and stuff like that, you know? So I just was like, man, this is 1 year already. Like, why stop now? And at the year mark, I was already past the 52 episode, because I was doing it once a week. So I was already past that. So I was like, oh, no, I'm already ahead because all of the bonus episodes that I did. So what is it to go up to 100, regardless of the second year mark? Because right now we're on pace to reach, by the time the 2 year mark comes, we'll already be past. Like, as far as the episodes go, 52, right? 52, we'll already be past. By the time the 2 year mark, we'll probably be like, this is me from the top of my head thinking, not exactly. We'll probably be like in the 115 episode, something like that, you know? Again, this is just me from the top of my head. It's not guaranteed. But so I was thinking, okay, what is it going to take for this last little stretch to go up to episode 100? It really isn't going to take much. I'm already doing everything, and it's like I got a rhythm. Why stop now? So then the goal changed to, let me see if I can go up to episode 100. And then let me reevaluate things and see how much success it's been, you know? I mean, how much it's grown. So then episode 100 hits. It's here. So now if we go back to, like I said, the fork on the road, or the crosshairs, where you're at that point where you're like, what happens now? You know, two different directions you can go. You can either stop, you reached your goals, you did everything you were going to say. You reached the goals that you wanted to. The majority of them. You reached the majority of the goals that you wanted to do. You created not just a platform, but you created something where people actually want to be a part of, you know? You were able to tell stories. You were able to give some of your own stories. You were able to give artists a platform that they may not necessarily have had. You were able to get artists discovered that maybe a lot of people didn't know about, you know? You were able to interview some of your favorite artists that you maybe might not have had the chance to in passing, you know, other than just a hello or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what's up, bro? You good? You know what I'm saying? Other than that, you were able to shed light on people's situations and get them, you know, more attention on their family emergencies and stuff like that, you know? So check. So now what is the end game in this, right? Is there an end game? These are the conversations that I'm having with myself. So when I'm at that fork in the road, it's, do you stop there, or do you look at it like, all right, why not hit 200? You know, why not go for 1,000? You know, is it going to take time? Is it going to take energy? Yes. And then you start to get in that point where you're like, is it becoming more than just, is this a hobby? Is it something that you do occasionally? Are you part-time in it? Do you plan on like doing this full-time? It can even be full-time. Is it beneficial? Is it lucrative? Can you monetize this? You know, these are the type of things that I'm sure a lot of people ask and have questions of, but those are the type of things I'm also asking myself too. So I definitely understand that. So I got here to like I said, the fork in the road, and it's like, okay, this is what I want to do. I definitely don't want to stop. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I definitely don't want to stop. I'm looking at it now as my next challenge in this, or my next goal for this is, how do I change it from, okay, you got this what people say, oh, you got this podcast thing, right? I get it. It's not the biggest. How do I change it from that to become an actual staple? How do I change just Hypocritical AF from just a name to actual business and to a brand? That's my goal for this one. Now, going forward, when the 100s, 200s, 300s, how do I change it from just a name to a business? And how do I create this to a brand and a platform, like a legit platform? You know, I want this to be a staple in Northern California. You know, down south in LA specifically, there's, you know, There's so many everybody has a podcast, especially within the last 2 years, if you consider the pandemic and everything. And I'm not just saying it's just LA, it's all over the world, literally. But here in California, down south, there's so many podcasts. Up north, there's podcasts, but they're not as much, And not to toot my own horn, but I don't see a lot of podcasts up in the NorCal area, no disrespect, not doing it as consistent and to the level that I'm doing it at. And the level, and that's the thing, my shit's not even that, you know what I'm saying? It's not even that up there either. I'm learning and watching the big time podcasts, and I'm seeing, okay, what are they doing? Whether it be marketing strategies, advertising, social media, whatever. I'm looking at that and I'm like, that's what I'm implementing here. If that's the standard, that's the standard that I'm operating at. That way, whenever I do get there, it becomes so second nature to me that it doesn't make a difference. And also, that's kind of where I pull the trust from. And that's where I get my confidence from, is knowing that, like, I'm doing these things to the standard that the big time podcasts are. And I don't mean quality. It's different. When I say standard, I mean, what are the standard resolution that they're using? How often are they releasing episodes? How often are they releasing clips, if any? What platforms are they on? What where are they distributing their content at? How are they distributing their content? What's their posting schedule like? How many equipment wise, maybe it might not be up to par with them, but what is their minimal, equipment rating that they're using? Those are the things that I'm incorporating here right now at this low of a level. And that's what gives me my confidence, because when I do get there, it's going to be so of an easy transition and plus it's also setting the precedent standard that you guys will get right here, just at a higher level. Maybe there's more camera angles. Maybe by the time I get there, I actually have a production team. Maybe by the time I actually get there, I'll have to do less less on the back end and less work on my end to do those things, So those are the type of things where I grab my confidence from, knowing that I can go up to par with those. Conversation wise, you got to work on your craft, You got to work on your craft. Not a lot of people can hold a conversation. Not a lot of people can set themselves up and, and do a solo episode like this and ramble on and still kind of keep it on par, but set everything up themselves and then do this and then edit themselves and then do all these things that, normally other people would do. And that's not me, tooting my own horn, because I don't want to do all this. Eventually when I get to a position where I can outsource or even send this off and it not hinder me, then that's when it'll just alleviate the stress on myself. Unfortunately, financially, I'm not there yet. And I'm not embarrassed to say that. I'm just not there yet. And that's okay, because we all have to start somewhere. So yeah, going back to what I was saying, changing this to, okay, how do I turn this to an actual business? How do I turn this to a brand? How do I make this as a staple here in Northern California? How do I make this as a platform? And also, how do I help build a team? Like, I want to have a team around me. I want to have a group of people that have the same ambitions, the same goals as I do, who are striving to get to a certain level that I am. And it doesn't have to be in the podcasting game. It could be media. It could be production. It could be management. It could be social media marketing. It could be influencing, artistry, music making, whatever it is. If there's a way to develop a team around this, it can only elevate it. That's the one thing that I'm lacking currently, is that there's no actual team, and then furthermore on that too is, how do we branch off on this and expand the brand? Now we start talking about actual merch. Now we start talking about advertising dollars other than just, social media ads. I'm talking about real advertising. So those are the things that, conversations that I have with myself that have also been vocalized behind closed door with, close friends, family, and people that maybe are mentors and that I'll call upon and ask for stuff and everything. Not ask for stuff, sorry. Ask for advice from and everything. But speaking about merch too, this is okay. So now I can answer this question. So I got asked a lot about merch. Like, how come you haven't dropped any merch? What's up with the merch here? Because I have a few shirts and sweaters that are like that have the logo and the podcast name on it and everything. But those are more like personal ones, and I'll wear them, but I maybe not advertise them so much and everything. Here's the honest truth about that. This is the reason why I haven't dropped any merch. Quite frankly, didn't drop merch because I'm thinking, to be honest, it's probably not going to sell. That's just my honest thinking. And maybe that's just self-deprecating or self-detrimental or self-sabotage. I just don't think that if I would order a bunch of stuff, I feel like I would lose money out on the back end. So you could look at that and be like, that's the risk you got to take. That's the risk that comes with doing this. This is the risk with doing everything independent, entrepreneurship. And I get all that 100%. However, I look at the data. Ultimately, I'm the one that sees the numbers. I see more or less how much people actually mess with this or like support this as opposed to how much actually don't, so it's just tough for me to commit to fully going into something like that and spending the money that it would to essentially be in the negatives. Am I fine with it? Yes, I just can't do it at this very moment financially wise because I have a family to take care of, and it's not that easy to be like, I'm going to take this $2,000 and, put it over here right now. That's not to say that I'm not going to. I'm definitely going to have it, and I'm working on it. Trust me. I've got that. I'm just telling you what the first 2 years where my mindset was. At first, merch wasn't even like a thing that I was thinking about. It wasn't until around the 1 year mark. Then it's like, all right, time to do this merch. And that was supposed to be a part of the 1 year rollout, the celebration, the video that I shot. It was supposed to be a part of it, and I dropped the ball on that one again. And that's okay. Again, if you follow everything that I'm saying on this episode, this is me saying I'm learning from all this. I dropped the ball on a lot of things, and that's why the first 100 episodes I'm looking at it like, okay, I just finished all this stuff. Now this is where the real work starts. That first 100, it's getting the repetitions in, getting comfortable with speaking and interacting with people and being in front of a microphone like this. It's like, okay, you did all that. Okay, all right, we get it. You got all these things. Cool. You had the trials, the errors. You learned from everything. Now going forward on these triple digits, now it's like, now it's time to be serious. Now it's time to be taken serious. And now it's time to elevate this, and which includes bringing up the merch. So that is definitely going to be in the future. I'm over that now. I'm not thinking about whether or not it's going to sell or not. I'm over that. I'm overthinking that it's not going to, not overthinking, but I'm over, or I guess I would say, over is the word. I'm overthinking about those negative things. I'm just going to create the merch. I'm going to release it. And if you guys will support it, that'd be great. And I'm going to do everything that I can, like I said, to elevate it to the next thing. So that's the fork in the road. It was, did all that. You stop, you call it, you'd be like, hey, I did what I got to do. I did it. I did everything, well, almost everything that I said I wanted to do, and close it down and shut it down. No. Again, ever since 100, it's been on go. Recording 2 today. I'm excited for next week's episode release and for y'all to see who I have on. And then now it's all about building, branding, developing a team, and making this into an actual business, because talent only gets you so far. The passion for something only gets you so far. Motivation only lasts so long. And I say all those things to say the passion for something can die by tomorrow. You could be passionate about something until the next thing you're passionate about. The love for something can die tomorrow. You can love something until you don't anymore. The motivation could die by tomorrow, because you could be motivated by the time you wake up, and you go to sleep, and then when you wake up, that motivation will be dead. So those 3 only get you so far. And when all else fails, when the motivation, when the love or the passion isn't there, be consistent. Because when you stay consistent, that'll bring back the love. When you stay consistent, that'll bring back the motivation, and when you stay consistent, that will bring back your love for everything, you know. And I think I said that one twice, and that's okay. Okay, so that's where my head's at going forward for the next couple ones. So yeah, I wanted to talk about all that, kind of give you like an insight of the things that I've been thinking of. And you know, now that we're starting on these triple digits, it's just now getting started, y'all. So if you thought the first 100 were like, damn, he did that, he did the 100, you know, we're just now getting started. The work is actually starting now. It's accountability now. It's actually growing now. It's all right, time to put that work in. So I'm excited for it. Yeah, so we're just gonna hit the ground running with it, and I appreciate y'all. So moving away from that, we just passed Halloween, and so okay, let me tell you guys about this real quick, right? So we've never taken him trick-or-treating, mind you, because he was young. He still is young, but it's kind of tough to take a baby trick-or-treating, you know, and actually enjoy it. This time around, this year, he can actually walk. He comprehends and understands knocking and saying trick-or-treat, and has a candy bag. Maybe not 100%. Homies tried. When you knock on the door and they open the door, I don't know what he was thinking. He thought like they were letting him in. Homie tried walking inside the rooms. Inside the houses. That's a no-go, my guy. You can't do that. You know, you can't do that. So he tried walking inside the houses, and I was like, no. And one thing that changed, I don't know if it's like, maybe I'm just overthinking it or I perceive it different, but a lot of people aren't doing the inside the house anymore. Like trick-or-treating, like, you know, the traditional way, you walk up, knock on the door, ring the doorbell, they open, trick-or-treat, you bring out your candy like that. A lot of people aren't doing that anymore. This year, maybe it's just the area that I was at, but what I found was people were actually sitting outside already in the driveway, or they were outside of the door, sitting there already. So when you walk up, the kids were just going trick-or-treat, and they would just drop the candy in the bags, and then they would go on their way. So it was tough because homie didn't get the full experience with it, because he was already, again, they were practicing the knock on the door, the trick or treat, and all that stuff. And it did happen a few times, but very little. I wanted him to get that experience, and then he kept getting distracted by the damn Ring doorbells. You know, when we were growing up, there was no Ring doorbells with those fucking fancy stuff. You know, so he would walk up and he was like, he would go to knock on the door, and he would look at the doorbell and be like, doorbell, and then the light would be spinning and everything, and it's just like, no, bro, they're about to give you candy, like you're missing out on a fucking Snickers bar. And he's just like, oh, like looking at the damn doorbell. So it was a bit distracted right there. And then a few places were pretty cool. They would do like the maze, like you would enter through the garage, and they would set up the garage, which I thought was really cool. And then you would go through the back door and stuff like that. And at the end, they give you the candy. So that was really cool. We made it about halfway through. I'll say that. We wanted to go in fully, but he got a little scared. I don't blame him. I understand. But he made it halfway through, and I was like, yo, homie, what's up? Like, you did it. You know what I'm saying? I was hyping him up. He went halfway through. He didn't get scared. There was one house where homie was in the Scream costume and the Scream mask, and he was at the door, and a lot of people were hesitant to like walk. They were walking to it, and they're like, nah, hold up. Is that a person? Because it was tough to say whether it was a real person or like just like a doll, because he was standing. Just imagine right in front of your door, just right in front of the door, homie was just standing there with the Scream mask, like, and you can't see his face. You don't know if it's real or not. So he was just standing there, and kudos to him for standing still the entire fucking night and not breaking character. Spoiler alert, he does break character, and it was a real person. But shout out to that dude standing there, because this is what happened. So people were like scared. They didn't want to walk up, and they were like, oh shit, no, I don't want to, like they don't want to get scared. And which, now that I think about it, if you want to save candy, that's the way to go, because you'll make your candy last, because a lot of people aren't going to walk up and do it. But anyway, so, I grabbed the baby, and I'm like, all right, I'll walk with you. Like, I actually held him. I didn't let him walk. I was like, let's go. So he walked up, and he didn't really understand or comprehend. Like, he didn't know that was a real person. So, and I'm thankful that this guy didn't just straight up fucking just go, with a knife and everything and try to scare him. So he saw that it was a little boy. He just kind of like, he's like, happy Halloween. Like, he just moved with the candy, and the baby was like, he kind of like was like, oh shit, didn't expect that, but he didn't scream. That was the biggest thing. We put the candy in the bag, and we went out on our way, but he didn't get scared and he didn't scream, which was solid. So it was a cool experience for him. First time, going about. I mean, we try to limit. We're not a big. We don't give him a bunch of sweets, right? We don't give him a bunch of sugar. We don't give him a bunch of candy. And that's our decision, right? Like, it's intentional. First of all, that's just bad for you. You can't have a bunch of it. But also, and maybe you could think I'm over exaggerating as a dad. Maybe y'all could, say that, and I could see that. But we just have, in my family, we have a history of diabetes. Like, it's in our blood, right? So a lot of our family members get diabetes, type 2, had body parts amputated and stuff like that. And I just see the long, on both sides of my family. So my dad's side, my mom's side. So I see the long history on that. And so if I can not even eliminate it, but at an early age, kind of start a precedent of not having, so much sweets, so much sugar, so much candy, so much of anything, I just feel like it's only going to benefit him. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm a tight ass on that end, but I was like, no, can't have too much candy. So I think he had like, I'm not a fucking devil, like I gave him, he had a candy, and then he had a lollipop, and then he had another one at night, so nothing crazy, but he had a few, but it was just that one night. And yeah, that sugar rush is real for the kids, and man, especially for him that doesn't get it enough. He just fucking turbo boosters on go, so it was fun for that. And the area that we went trick-or-treating at was like a nice area. And I don't know if I want to do that again. To an extent, yes, but to an extent, no. Because it was cool because he got like a bunch of good candies and everything. But what sucked about it, and I'm not even saying that it sucked, but the thing about it is that you would go to these houses and they'd be nice as fuck, man. So you look around, you're like, God damn it, dude. Like, it makes you just want to quit what you're doing. Makes you want to think of other ways to outsource, to get another income. And then they would open the door, some of them, or they would have the garage open. And you would just see their garage. You would just see the inside, and you'd be like, what am I doing in life? Not to compare the two, because I'm thankful and I'm blessed, you feel me, to have what I do have. But I look at that too, and it's like, all right, time to step it up. I got to do some more things to develop this a little better. So maybe it was like, it wasn't so much of a sucky thing. Maybe it was more of a, motivational type of thing to be like, all right, time to go. You know what I'm saying? Time to sell these feet pics, my guy. No, I'm just kidding. But so it was a cool thing for that. And so Halloween was a success, I would say, overall, between the two costumes, the episode, the trick-or-treating, I guess just the excitement factor of getting out again. It felt like I feel like we're officially back to normal, within the last 2 years. Like, I feel like it's safe to say we're officially 100% back to normal, so that's a good feeling on that. And also November is a good, I've said it before, I'm a fall type of dude. You feel me? Like this, I love this season. I love this time of the year. The weather's amazing. You start getting into the holidays, which I'm starting to appreciate more and be a part of. Start getting into more family-centered events that you can do, and so whether that be your immediate family, your extended family, friends that you consider family as well, those are the type of things you get to like interact with and everything. So I'm excited for that one as well. And so moving from that, all that shit, man, I got to give a quick, not even quick, but I got to talk about the tragic incident that happened with Takeoff, man. R.I.P. Takeoff, man. It's so unfortunate. Like when you see, I mean, there's a lot of things that's unfortunate about it. Number one, it's unfortunate that it even happened. It's unfortunate that it happened over a dice game. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate that it got to where it went to. Like, it didn't need to get there, right? If there's a disagreement or something, that's one thing. If there's a disagreement and then punches start being thrown, that's another. But to go to that extent and that length so quick, and then for a person, he's 20, he's younger than me, which is crazy. I'm just realizing now too, he's younger than me. He's 28 years old. I think I want to say he was shot like 2 times. That's unfortunate. it's just, it was like, it was out of nowhere, especially too, like if I'm a fan of the Drink Champs podcast or Drink Champs show, him and Takeoff and Quavo was just on the show talking about life and how, the things that they talk about in their music are more like maybe not to a full extent of positive stuff, but they talk about cars, money, Bentleys, and they talk about all that stuff because they're trying to speak it into fruition. And they feel like they manifest a lot of stuff when they're saying that. That's why they don't talk about a lot of death in their music. They don't ever talk about like when I die this and when I die that, So it was like, man, looking back and hearing that again, it was unfortunate, And then also giving him the respects and his flowers. He talked about, on the episode too, he said like, hey, give me my flowers now. I don't want them later. I don't want them later. A lot of times, because whenever you have, and I guess it's, the nature of everything, we compare a lot of things and we kind of vote on, like whether it be MJ, Kobe, LeBron, who's the best this, who's the best rapper, Jay-Z, J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake, there's always comparisons and there's always that, that fun debate that a lot of people do. So the same thing would happen with the Migos. It was like, who's the best rapper? Offset, Takeoff, Quavo, who's this, who's that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of people would always put Takeoff at the bottom of the totem pole as far as from the three. And then a lot of people would be like, nah, he's the top. And so that comes with, with hip hop in general. And it's unfortunate that we did that for one, but but now it hits more when he talks about like, give me my flowers while I'm here, as opposed to he's like, I don't want them later, and look at like, and now that this transpired, it's like, man, it's really unfortunate, and then him and for that to happen, with Quavo being there, and mind you, they are family, they're real family members. They're not, I don't want to say it's like his uncle and his nephew or cousins, I think, or uncle and nephew, yeah, like real family members, so regardless, if you remove the title Takeoff, if you remove the title of rapper, if you remove the group Migos and everything, you're talking about, first of all, human beings, right? We're all human. And then on top of that, you're talking about a man that has a family and then who had his family member there with him, So it's unfortunate in all levels and all directions. And it's also unfortunate that social media has the videos so quick, like it's tragic, yo. And are you thinking about the family members that have to see these videos that get circulated around? Like, the video, I saw a video that same morning, and it was just like, geez, you know what I'm saying? Like and it wasn't even like I was intentionally, trust me when I say I wasn't even trying to search it. It just popped up on my thing. And it's like, man, they are quick to put those videos up, and it's like, it sucks, it just dropped an album too. And for it to, I guess I'm just thinking about too, more so of the number, like I said, 28 years old, younger than myself, and over what, like you got in a little argument, over what, a dice game, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did it get to the direction that it went to? Like I said, I saw the video and it's just like, it's so quick, man. It's just to go there, like that's just gunshots, yo, so quick, like quick to go there. And it's like, again, just saying, I can't reiterate it enough. It's just unfortunate all around. It's unfortunate, and no matter which way you think about it. And yeah, I got to think about that stuff, not go to those extreme lengths so quick for things. I think about it even myself too, not to bring, include myself in the situation at all, but just more so like of the talk to the lesson on it. I'm not that heated as I used to be when I was a youngin'. A lot of shit, I'll just, okay, turn the other cheek, look away. Someone stares at you for a long time, okay, just look the other direction. Not everything can be taken as a threat. If someone's gonna come at you or say some stuff or try to get chipper with you, okay, you let that shit go. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, whatever, cool. And I don't know if it's just, I don't know, growth, age, having a child myself. I don't know what it is about that, maturity or matured from that. I don't know. I don't know what you can credit it to, but you let a lot of that shit go. You know, imagine if they would have then be like, all right, cool, and I'm dipping, I'm up out of here. All right, whatever, cool. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's unfortunate is what I'm trying to say on all that. So R.I.P. Takeoff, man, one of the pillars in that too. You know, I don't think you don't get Amigos without him. He's the one that pushed Takeoff. He's the one that pushed Quavo into doing it. He's the one that told him, yeah, you should do this rapping shit. You know, you should do it. You know, so between influencing a style in rap, you know, in hip hop, and being a pillar in the South, and you know, to doing solo songs and solo projects, and you know, kind of carving and crafting his own lane, and yeah, just unfortunate, man. 28, so R.I.P. Takeoff. But it's crazy because we were just talking about not that situation, but how fast life can go, right? We were just talking about it like at the shop, or at Jeffrey's shop. Let's talk about it with Slap. And we're talking about, you know, the whole Takeoff situation. You know, one of his childhood friends that just recently passed away, and like how fast life is going. He had an artist that he made a song with that passed away too. And so like, it's just been around more recent, and as of lately, it's just been popping up more, you know? So I try to tell people, you know, to find motivation in things, and, you know, not get complacent, and to be consistent, you know? Because like I said earlier, motivation dies off, but you can find something that'll spark that motivation again in something else. So I was telling him to not get focused on so much of all this, because like I said, deaths have been around. Not been around, but they've been popping up a lot lately. And it's like, man, try not to focus on this stuff. Use the time wisely that you have here. Use the time that we are fortunate, you know, to be forwarded to us, and to let me make the most of it, you know, and do these things that you want to do, and not hold back all these things. So I'm hoping that we get some new projects and some new stuff like that soon. And myself too, I'm also taking in my own advice like that. That's why I'm saying like this next portion of the hundreds, it's on go, and it's building it and not wasting any time on doing all these things, because life is short. You have situations that can happen at any time, you know, at any fucking time. So make the most of it. Do everything you got to do, and do solo episodes like this when you can, you know, and do 2 a days. So that's the goal with everything. But anyway, wrapping up all that, I know I've been rambling. I know I had to talk about a few things, but I just wanted to, you know, give you guys some insight on this 100, and get a solo one in before I have another guest one on, because I do appreciate these solo ones. I do appreciate being able to just sit here and talk about, you know, whatever I got going on, or recapping a few things, or maybe giving some insights of previous episodes where I can, or even some stuff that's going on in life. Or if I can motivate y'all in any way, definitely. If I can, you know, spark something and put a jet back into something, that's definitely, you know, ideal for all this too. And the podcast is just going, it's growing. So it's going and growing. Those 2 different things that I just said. But yeah, I'm excited for these next couple months, and I'm going to work on a lot of things on my end. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you again. Stream, watch, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, man. Subscribe to the YouTube. It's growing. We're over 1,000 already. The goal was to hit 1,000. We're over that. Keep subscribing. If you tell someone about it, you know, tell your moms, you feel me? Tell your pops, tell your friends, tell your bestie, tell your side piece, you know, to go like, subscribe, and stream, you know, like check them out. It's on Amazon, Pandora, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Podbean, fucking SoundCloud, all these places wherever you could literally stream music, you can listen to the podcast. So if you can't, you know, maybe if it wastes too much data on your phone to watch it, go ahead and listen to it. If you have a TV, and you have a smart TV, watch it there, stream it there. You can even stream the podcast without even having to watch it. You can put it on Spotify if you have one of those crazy ass TVs and have Apple and all that stuff, right? So tell a friend about it, you know? Help me out. All right. Y'all stay safe. Peace.